What is going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Eagles Talk, and welcome to Monday Recap. I love doing the recaps about the games, and this time I have a very special guest with me. He does write for and know about the Detroit Lions, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and then we'll go from there. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hello, and thank you for having me on the show. So, yes, I am Jack Kavanaugh at Javanaugh87, and I work for the Believe Podcast Network and run the Believe in Lions show alongside Jerry Ball, three-time Pro Bowl nose tackle for the Detroit Lions. And so I'm very happy to be on the show. I was a little bit more excited to be on when you invited me before the game
Before
happened. I'm still happy to be here, though. It's always a good time.
Hey, look, man, look. Hey, win or lose, I told you, win or lose, that hey, I was gonna do this, and you was welcome on anytime. It just happened that under this circumstances, 44-6. All right, so first off, what do you think happened yesterday? Were the Lions preparing for one game plan that one team, one Eagle team that they've been watching the whole season, and completely got another team yesterday? Like, what was the biggest thing that went wrong for a 44-6 beatdown?
There's a couple things there. I think they were expecting a little bit more of the RPO stuff that we've seen all season from Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. There was less of that and more drop back, let Jalen Hurts make a play. And when he dropped
Hmm.
back, they couldn't set the edge. He could get outside him. There's a couple times, third and long, the one that really drove me crazy. 3rd and 12, Hurts drops back into his own end zone. They get a little bit of pressure. Oh, no, he just skirts up the middle for a 20-yard gain. And that was just a symptom of the entire game. They couldn't stop the run. I think they prepared a little bit too much for the short passing game and
Yeah.
not enough on the we're going to run it down your throats.
Facts. Look, hey, yo, I thought the exact same thing. I know everybody's saying that the Lions are a bad team or a horrible team, but what people don't realize is this: like they have been playing some pretty good ball. I had a couple Detroit Lion content creator on last week, and I told them, I'm like, hey, y'all might be the best 0-7 team that I've ever seen, because these games, some of these teams that they play, they had an opportunity to beat some of these teams. They were in it. It did take a 66-yard NFL record Justin Tucker field goal to beat them. So nobody has manhandled the Lions like we did yesterday. So I do feel like that deep down inside, they really thought that the Philadelphia Eagles was going to be the exact same Eagles from the previous 7 games. A lot of RPO, a lot of throwing, not even running. And they got the total opposite. And that's why I think that was the biggest difference in this game, was the unknown factor that they came in with one game plan and it completely flipped on them.
And one of the things I really expected going into this, I thought it'd be a lot more like the Ravens game because they set the edge well against Lamar Jackson there. He beat him a couple times, but they really made him play from the pocket. And the Ravens are a little bit different because they're more of a run down your throat, whereas the Eagles
Mhm.
kind of spread you, open it up, and then make electric plays more. And then when they shifted, the Lions just were caught off guard and couldn't contain Hurts at all, like they did with Lamar Jackson. And it was painful. It was honestly painful at times.
So, all right, so wait, let's talk about look, the running game, right? The Philadelphia Eagles could not stop the run all year. We was almost towards the bottom of the league in stopping the run. Like the Philadelphia defense yesterday, these linebackers, these blitzes, I really think that Deuce Staley and and I praise them all week. If I'm Deuce, I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to run the ball because the Philadelphia Eagle cannot stop the run. Once we started stopping the run, it seemed like that the whole game plan fell apart. Like, were you surprised how ineffective that they were in running the ball yesterday, especially with Swift being one top backs and receiving out the backfield and also running?
Truly, I was. And one of the things with Swift and the Lions is there's a lot of passing plays that are essentially run plays with Swift out of the backfield. And the Eagles shut those down completely as well. And I think one of the bigger problems with the Lions offensive line right now is center Frank Ragnow being out, because he was the one making all of the calls on the offensive line. Now they have Evan Brown, first-time starter. And so from there, the communication breaks down a little bit. And when you've got a guy like Fletcher Cox dominating up the middle, he's going to make a play, and it just falls apart from there. And especially a rookie left tackle, a Penei Sewell, an essential rookie right tackle.
But
It's
Penei
just all
Sewell been
around.
good this year, though. Like Penei Sewell been very good this year. I saw him last week. Went head to head with. Matter of fact, he got in Donald Face last week. So he's a big dude. He's not scared at all. And then having Barnett on that side, I thought that he probably would take advantage of that matchup, but it really didn't happen that way. Yeah, Barnett got a sack, a shoelace tackle, but for the most part, he did pretty good holding his own.
Yeah, and even on that play, Goff made him look worse than it actually was, because there's pressure up the middle. Goff drops way back too far, and then there's no stopping it. And so it's just a lot of little things on the offense. The communication breaks down. Goff has the happy feet. None of the offense can get going. And then those blitzes, like you said, from the linebackers, they were perfectly timed, broke down communication on the O-line, and they made him pay for it. 6 sacks of Goff, I believe. 5?
Yeah, 6 sacks. 6 sacks. And it was a whole different game plan. I know that Chris Bolin was like, hey, no matter how good they did yesterday, they played the worst team in the NFL. But however, we don't know if this is a serious thing that they did until next week. Next week, when they know they have an easy schedule. But if they continue to repeat this, then maybe they're finally getting it together with Coach finally getting the blue ball. But look, like, to me, yesterday, I don't think it mattered who they played yesterday, because I'm telling you right now, the Philadelphia Eagles, both offense and defense, I didn't know what team I was watching. Like, when we was running the ball with four-headed monsters, with Jalen Hurts, with Boston Scott, with Jordan Howard, and then you put Gainwell in there. This was a pure upfront domination in the running game, which is not what we are used to. So, and then on the defensive side, Jonathan Gannon, he completely threw his other playbook, his defensive playbook, out the window. Eric Wilson was a healthy scratch. He didn't even play yesterday, and he's been playing all year. So they brought in Davion Taylor, TJ Edward, and a little bit of Singleton. So, and there was blitz and stuff like that. So, yes, the Lions were a bad football team, but to go and dominate the way we did when they did play the Ravens, did they play the Rams, did they play the 49ers, that no other team could have did that. It speaks a lot where they might be heading if they continue, running the ball and playing the type of defense that they play. I know you watched a little bit about the Eagles. So in your eyes, what are the Eagles' biggest problem as a team?
I don't think they know who they are yet, and that takes time. That's something my co-host on Believe in Lions, Jerry Ball, talks about all the time, is Lions and Eagles, they both don't have a full identity with this new coaching staff. They're figuring it out, but the Eagles also hadn't fully bought into Jalen Hurts, it seemed like earlier. There was all the talk in the preseason, oh, well, it's an open battle. We don't know who. We all know it's Jalen Hurts, so just build around him, give him the confidence, and we've really started to see that with some of the ground and pound football, and made it easy on him with Dallas Goedert going for over 70 yards. Just those are the kinds of things they need to be going forward. And another thing was Fletcher Cox. He was all unhappy heading into this game because he's been asked to play kind of a different role, more of a run stuffing or hold the point. And so it's just finding out how to communicate better and understanding where these players are at. And they'll get there if they all buy into the message. And I know we all made fun of Sirianni for the watering, the garden stuff.
Yes.
But maybe the players did buy into it. Maybe they got it. and this is the direction going forward. And if it is, I like it. The ground and pound, let Jalen Hurts beat you with his legs, let Jordan Howard run you over. I'm here for it.
Yeah, look, we all been asking for this all season long. Like run the ball, run the ball. I predicted that the Eagles would have been the number one rushing team in the league. When
Mm-hmm.
you have like the forehead monsters at the time was with Jordan Howard, with Kenny Gainwell, and Boston Scott and Miles Sanders. And then you have a Jalen Hurts that people have to literally go into every game saying, you know what, we need to stop his legs, we need to stop his arm. You got, game plan for two things, but for some way somehow, it seems like in the beginning of the season and all the way up till last week that Nick Sirianni was trying to force his own game plan onto the players, and we don't have the type of players for him to do his game plan. Like we don't have a pocket passer, so why try and make Jalen Hurts be a pocket passer? So what did you see in the beginning of the season? The reason why that we are 3-5 instead of 5-3 right now.
Well, that first game, even though it was a win, it honestly was kind of the worst thing that could have happened to your offense because you won off of the short passing game. You're going to get the run after catch. This is how we're going to beat you. And it worked in that situation. But that's not what Jalen Hurts is built for. We saw it last year. Everyone made a big deal. He only completed like 54% of his passes. That wasn't an issue because he had the longest average depth of target in the NFL. He was hucking it downfield and it was working. So let Jalen Hurts play hero ball. Let him beat you with his legs. Let him run these read options instead of the RPOs, and let him make plays with this. Even though the one play where Jalen Hurts almost threw it away. No, it wasn't really a throwaway. Devontae Smith was really close on the sideline. That's
Yeah.
the magic that Jalen Hurts can have, and that's something they seemed intent to bottle up early in the season until the fourth quarter when they let it go.
Yeah. All right. So do you think that Jalen Hurts could possibly be the franchise quarterback, if not for the Philadelphia Eagles? So do you think that he could be a franchise starting quarterback for any other team if he does not pan out in Philly?
I absolutely do. I think he has the tools to get there as long as you build around him like Lamar Jackson. Not saying they're the same type of player, but they have similar strengths with what they can do with their legs and what they can do with Lamar is more of a touch passer. Jalen
Mhm.
Hurts is more of a cannon of an arm. So there's differences there, but those are the things you have to work around, accentuate. And if the Eagles decide to do that, and if they don't go for a quarterback next year, just invest in Jalen Hurts, it could work out. And at the very least, Hurts should be a starter in the NFL next year based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the coaching staff in Philly? I mean, look, it started kind of rough, and you know how Philly could get. I mean, we fired our only Super Bowl winning head coach after missing the postseason 1 out of 4 years. How do you like this coaching staff in Philly, or do you think that they have enough power, or is Howie's pulling the strings?
It's too early to tell, honestly, because Sirianni kind of seems like a goof in the media with his quotes and things. But what does that really mean? Because you hear Kyle Shanahan talk, and he doesn't tell us anything. He talking about how the world's gonna end. We don't know if anyone's gonna be alive by the start of the season, so why bother talking Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo? So coaches say weird things. I think what matters is do the players buy into the
Yeah.
message, and can you put them in a position to make plays? And that's part of the reason it didn't work out with Doug Peterson. The roster stopped believing in the message. It was all feuding. People couldn't get along anymore. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. And we'll see if they can avoid that with this new regime.
Okay, nice. I feel like that Nick Sirianni, if he just do less talking and more just say, hey, we gotta go back to work and stop trying to give these little quotes out, these little metaphors out, that people will start probably showing more respect, especially in the media. Yes, your players could buy into it, but every time you talk, Like every time you open your mouth, it's something that you're trying to say the same thing, but you're trying to find another way to relay the same message. How about you just start winning? And then you ain't got to relay any message. You just got to say, hey, we're moving on to the next game. So that's my only issue I had with
Mhm.
them. Yet, some people made a big deal about the rock, paper, scissors thing. I really don't care about that. I just feel like that, hey, it's his first time being a head coach. He waited his whole life to be in this position. He never called plays before. Hey, this is the first level that he's actually calling plays. So hey, he's super excited. But I really felt like that he sold the Philadelphia Eagle fans, the coaching staff, sold us a picture of we're gonna use these guys to their ability. We're gonna put them in the best position to succeed. And then as soon as the season got started, it just went away from that. It was like pass, 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 pass. When you got Sanders and Gainwell and Jordan Howard on the practice squad, and Boston Scott and Zach Ertz and Goddard. So why not utilize your packages, your players to the strength? And that's what drew a lot of fans out. Say you lied to us. So
I completely understand that feeling, and I agree. He needs to. It doesn't matter what he's saying in the locker room to us,
yeah.
and in terms of us as the media.
Mhm.
Just you can say we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to the Chargers, we're on to the Cowboys. You don't have to. He seems too nice with the media. You don't have
Yes.
to. You don't have to just be so
Yeah.
earnest with them. You can be like Dan Campbell. And one of the things he said was this was a sea of garbage yesterday. And yes, that's a sound bite. That's a quote, but it's
Mhm.
true. And it's not forced, which is kind of what Sirianni feels like he's trying to do at times. Leave it in the locker room.
Exactly. So speaking about Dan Campbell, I mean, is he going to survive this season? Or I mean, at the trade deadline, it's tomorrow at 4 p.m. What moves do you see? I mean, are they going to be sellers, buyers? I mean, or just staying put? So what do you see happening to the Detroit line moving forward? 0-8. There's a possibility that this team might go 0-17. So what changes that they could make to give the fans, like to give the fans at least some hope, some life that we're gonna be okay.
That's the thing with the Lions right now. I think Dan Campbell would survive an 0-17 season because he the front office sold this rebuild internally
Mhm.
as something that was going to take time. The problem, they weren't fully honest with the fans about that. They made it seem we're competing this year. We believe in Jared Goff. We believe he could be our franchise quarterback. And really, when you looked at it, that felt like a stretch. There was always the
Yeah.
chance that they were going to compete for the playoffs. There was the chance if everything went perfectly and then their left tackle goes down to start the season. Now their center's hurt. Things go wrong. But even then, I think expectations were too high from what was being sold by the front office and the ownership. And not I think it was more realistic behind closed doors where it's okay, this is going to be the rebuild year. We're going to get rid of guys like Jamie Collins. We're going to get
Mhm.
all of this draft capital. And so like the Lions have the Rams 2 first-round picks from then over the next 2 years. I think they're going to let Campbell play that out and see what happens when they fully reload. And in terms of the trade deadline, Trey Flowers is probably going to be on the move if someone's
Mhm.
interested in him. The problem, he has a massive contract and hasn't played up to it.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Yeah,
Out,
so
outside of that, though, who could be traded? That's one of the
who
issues.
do y'all have? Like,
Yeah,
who do the Lions have? I
you're
mean,
not
so
trading Swift or Hawkinson, so
no, yeah, those are the cornerstones for that franchise moving forward. So it's talking about quarterbacks. So do you think that Jared Goff could possibly one and done type, or even be cut in the offseason? Because I mean, you can't draft a quarterback and keep him on, or what? I mean, so do you feel like he's the guy or no?
I don't think Jared Goff is the guy, but I also think that they are tied to him next year anyways because they redid his contract when he came over from the
Mm-mm.
Rams. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because we've seen when everything is perfect around Goff, things can go really well. So if they can put more around him in this draft and free agency, then maybe he gets them to an 8-8 type season. Or maybe he bottoms out again and the Lions are picking early in the draft again. They have 2 picks this year. The first, I think, when they go 0-17 or 1-16, will be Kayvon Thibodeau, the D end. And then you keep building the roster, and take another crack at it next year after seeing what Jared Goff is with anything around him.
All right. Yeah. Facts. All right. So let's move on to this. These teams that started hot. The Denver Broncos. Hey, they started, I think, 3 or 4-0. The Chargers, they started 4-0. The Carolina Panthers, they started 3-4-0. And then now they came back down to reality. The Denver Broncos just got rid of Von Miller today. He went to the Rams. The Chargers lost, 3 straight. The Panthers, they are a dumpster fire over there. So, and thank God that the Philadelphia Eagles play all these teams. We already beat the Panthers, and we do have the Broncos coming up, and we do have the Chargers coming up. So out of those 2 upcoming matchups with the Philadelphia Eagles, how much of a realistic chance do the Eagles have of beating both of those teams and possibly do something further on? Because we do got the Jets coming up, the Giants twice, the Washington football team twice. So these 2 teams are in our way right now. So how realistically that they could possibly be both teams?
The Broncos, I think absolutely that the Eagles should be the favorites in that one. I think Melvin Gordon is unhappy with that Von Miller trade. It sounds
Ooh.
like he might be out the door as well. And it sounds like the Broncos realize we're not playoff contenders this year. We're out of it. We're rebuilding because they do have a new GM and they're probably going to have a new head coach after the season. So let's evaluate the young talent we have. So Eagles should win that one. The Chargers, it's a toss-up because the Chargers can be one of the best teams in the NFL. They just haven't played up to it last little bit, and it's been really weird. Justin Herbert flustered against the Patriots, and that's what's going to be the deciding factor is Justin Herbert versus Jalen Hurts, really. And so I'm not saying it's impossible, and then you listed the Jets later in the season. These are all winnable games, and with the NFC, those final 2 playoff spots right now, it's going to be a toss-up with right now the Vikings are in the playoffs at the 7th seed. Come on, no.
3-4, right? And the Vikings is 3-4. And I think the Falcons and the Panthers both have slight better record than Philadelphia Eagles, but we beat both of those teams already. So a couple wins in a row. Hey, who knows? I mean, it's usually not about who's the best team, is who gets hot early, like who gets hot at the right time.
And the 6th seed in the NFC too, even right now, is the Saints, and they just lost Jameis for the year. So what are they going forward? It's going to be a battle for these final 2 spots to make the playoffs. I'm not writing the Eagles off like a lot of people had. If the Lions had beat them, maybe, but going forward, once they find their identity, that's when we'll truly know what the Eagles are and how far they can make it.
Okay, so let's talk about the Chargers matchup because that's our next game. Now, Justin Herbert has been getting a lot of praise as the next best quarterback in the league. So what is the Eagles? If you are the Eagles right now, what concerns you the most facing the Chargers this upcoming Sunday?
It's probably the 2 wide receivers that they have. You can put Darius Slay on either Keenan Allen or Mike Williams.
But they tall, they big.
Exactly. And Williams he's been banged up a little bit, but now he's back to playing full snaps. He was shut down this past week by the Patriots, but that's just what Bill Belichick does. He takes away the number 1 option. And so if he's healthy, Darius Slay can only take one of them. It's going to be tough to contain those 2 in the passing game. And it's also possible that the Chargers do what the Lions couldn't and get that pass catching running back like Austin Eckler. Get him more involved against these linebackers. That's going to be the X factor here, is how they contain those 3 pieces.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think that going up against the Chargers is going to be a big test because they're both like high, like
It's a
big
tone setter.
body wide receiver. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like in order to stop Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Eckler, you have to get to the quarterback. We have to play similar defense like the Patriots just did. Like all day long, Herbert was getting like beat up, beat down, like frustrated. He did not have time to actually throw the deep ball. So I feel like if we play the same type of defense that we played this up, against the Lions this past Sunday, then we should be able to at least minimize the damage those key, players could do. We need to blitz more. So what kind of defense would you play against the Chargers then?
Against the chart, you have to have your athletes on the field like they did this past week. So if Eric Wilson is another healthy scratch, we see more of Davian Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's, and like Richard Prier says, camouflage blitzes. It's those kinds of things. It's the surprise factor, which is kind of what got Justin Herbert off balance against the Patriots
Mm-hmm.
when they throw these exotic blitzes at him. It's that, and it's having the speed, the coverage ability to match up with an Austin Eckler. And it's not that Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are particularly fast, but they just get open. So you need your linebackers to be able to close in space. And then you need the defensive line to put pressure on them. That's probably the biggest factor because you're not covering both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So you got to get
Yeah.
to Justin Herbert quickly. Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat going to have to come up big.
Yeah, and look, the best part about the Eagles defense so far this year, we are one of the top defense and stopping the deep throws, like the big throws. But underneath, we'll get you all day because we was playing this type of defense, the bend don't break defense. But if you're a good quarterback, you'll take that and then you'll go all the way downstairs and then down the field, and eventually you'll break because they know exactly what you're playing. So I'm with Slay being back there, I feel comfortable leaving him 101 with either Mike Williams, but who's the bigger wide receiver? Mike Williams. He's the bigger, what 6'4", 6'5", big body wide
I think he's
receiver.
6'4", 215-ish. Big
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And Keenan Allen is he's not that like I think he's
He's
about 6'2", 6'3".
yeah.
So I mean, but we had some games where we went against the Buccaneers where Mike Evans he really didn't do anything to us at all.
Mhm.
And Antonio Brown killed us the underneath the little quick screens, the little a quick slant, and he take off because we can't tackle. But the Mike Evans, he didn't really do nothing to us. Amari Cooper, he didn't really do anything to us. And we face Pitts, Kyle Pitts. Now he's starting to get in his little groove a little bit, but we shut him down. Kelsey, we shut him down. Kittles. So we had some big tests early on, so we know how to match up with the skill position. It's just the underneath, the quick slants that we must tackle. That's where your linebackers have to be involved. They have to be flying to that ball regardless. And just trust and believe that the back is covered. But that's the only problem that I see us having just facing this type of offense.
And it exactly with the missed tackles that will cost you against this type of team. But you can make up for it with the pressure on Justin Herbert. That's the thing with the Jared Goff. He will take those dink and dunks all day. So if the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles were playing their old style of defense, it would have been
Yeah.
easy for the Lions to pick them apart. Jared Goff didn't know where the pressure was coming from, got the happy feet, drifted in the pocket, and then would get sacked, or he'd make a bad throw, just a little inaccurate. Those are the ways you can make up for it. You don't let them get a clean catch, and then you can come up and make the play. So hopefully the Eagles can do that against the Chargers, and hopefully this can be an explosive shootout because I love those kinds of games.
Shootouts. Well, I want the
They're
shootout on
fun.
one side on one side is shootout. Eagles are shooting it out. I don't want that back and forth. Look, we played the
Devontae Smith
Chiefs.
150,
Yeah.
Goddard 120. Let's go.
Look, and the thing is, though, we don't win the shootouts. Like
Mm.
we had shootouts against the Chiefs, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then one bad step out of bounds. Devontae Smith, he stepped out of bounds, and we established himself in bounds and caught a touchdown, but it was called illegal touching, and that kind of just opened the game for the other side. But so let's flip it on the other side. If the Eagles want to be successful, first of all, how is the Chargers defense? Like, I've been hearing that they are dead last in stopping the run, but I've been really watching them play a lot. So, like, do you have any idea how the Chargers defense is?
So they're poor against the run, and part of the reason is they have such a dominant secondary. Chris Harris, baller. Derwin James, baller.
Yeah,
Asante Samuel Jr., baller. It's
yeah.
just
I forgot he was there too.
yeah, they have one of the better secondaries in the NFL, and the linebacker play and defensive line play. They don't have the hogs up front. They're a finesse defense, I would describe them as. Joey Bosa, he's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, but you don't think of him as the stick your face into someone and grit it out. You think of him as making the flashy, quick, get into the backfield. And it's a lot of that on the Chargers defense where they don't have the hogs up front to counter that, just a strong punch in the face. And that's where the Patriots took advantage of them in the playoffs a couple years ago, is they had safeties playing linebackers. Even now, they're still linebackers, but they're small linebackers. They can be pushed around by a Lane Johnson and a Jason Kelsey.
See, that kind of like, as you are explaining this type of defense to me, man, it reminded me of the Philadelphia Eagles defense because we was also one of the worst run stopping defense. We could not stop the run. We was in the 30s, either 31 or 30 before this past game. We was horrible. But the back end, when you got big play Slade back there, you got Steven Nelson on one side, Maddox, he's balling out in a slot this year. But our linebackers were so like out of place and so small that they could not meet the running back at the hole. So that's why this game plan that we just played, we benched Eric Wilson, healthy scratch, and then we started TJ Edwards. He was more of a physical stop running linebacker, which we've been saying, like, I put him in from the jump, but they finally decided to put him in. He had 13 tackles yesterday. So he was flying everywhere, stopping the run. So I feel like if the Chargers do the exact same thing, right now we're thinking, hey, these guys cannot stop the run. So we about to go in there and just try to grind it out, run it out. But if they do the same exact game plan that the Eagles did, and then you talk about their secondary, lockdown corner, Asante Samuel, Derwin James, all these guys back there, then this might be a tougher game on both sides of the ball, regardless how you look at it, with record-wise or anything.
Yeah, right now the spread is only 2.5 point favorites for the Chargers, and that's pretty
and
fair
we're home.
At this point. Yeah,
but we have not won one home game yet.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
We have not won one home game.
Well, hopefully this can be your first home win. Can put it on the Chargers too would be impressive. And I think part of the reason they're 2.5 point favorites is people love the Chargers at this point. They love the hair of Justin Herbert. They love the flair of the offense. And LA versus Philly, right? LA's always going to get the hype out of that. Philly, though, knows how to grind it out, run people over, and hopefully they start to embrace that just a little bit more.
But also, hey, like the Eagles been underdogs this whole year. The only time we were favored is last week against the Lions. We was a 3.5 point favorite when I had saw the spread. So of course we going back to being underdogs because now they are a better team. Until we beat a good team, we will always be underdogs. Like
even when you do, you'll probably still be an underdog.
Hey, look,
just don't want to believe in Jalen Hurts for whatever reason.
And that's the problem. And that's the issue that I have is Jalen Hurts have done nothing but do what the coach tell them to do. All right. If you call a run play, a passing play over and over and over, what do you expect him to do? Like he's still a young quarterback. Like like in a real year, this will only be, I believe, his 13th game in a real year, in a real regular season, if he started from 1 to 13. So
It's
but for some
essentially
odd
still a
reason,
rookie.
yeah, but people don't want to hear that. People
No.
say, no, this is his second year. He should, he should be better than that. But at the same time, the best way to help a young quarterback out is to run the ball. We were number 28th and 29th in rushing. Rushing, that's unacceptable. So that means that you are putting 80% of the offense on a young quarterback's shoulders and say, hey, take us to the win. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm a smart coach, I'm I'm not even playing the run. I'm playing the pass every time because I know that Philadelphia Eagles will not run the ball. And that's exactly what happened until this last week. It took 7 weeks to finally say, hey, let's start running the ball.
And there's ways to get around not running the ball with the play action pass, with the bootlegs, with the short passes, and the Eagles seem too content. Nope, our run game is our screen game, and that just didn't work
Yeah.
at all. You need to you can run the play action. You can get Jalen Hurts out on the run, bootleg, and let him make a decision, either throw it downfield, make a play with his legs. Those kinds of things were working against the Lions. More of that and less of the, all right, quick slant. Okay, no, that didn't
Yeah.
work. Third and 3
No.
now.
No. And I hate the fact that, like Nick kept on saying, the RPO is our run game. No, our RPO is not your run game. It's not your run game. It put the young quarterback in more situation to make him think instead of trying to say, hey, get the ball out your hands, hand it off. No, you try and say, hey, hand it off if you see it open. Don't hand it off if you see it not there. Pass the ball. So now he's like literally like this, looking, he's trying to hand it off, look to see if it's open, and then trying to throw it downfield. That's too complicated. That's too complicated for a young quarterback. Just keep it simple. Once in a while, you could mix that in there, just throw that in there. But to solely call that your running game is a failure on your part, coach.
That's the thing. The RPOs are great in like everything else, in moderation. You can't make that your entire team. It's not going to work. The bubble screen or inside zone, that's not going to work for forever. Simplify it. And that's one of the things, same with the Dolphins, that Tua Tagovailoa is falling under right now.
Yeah.
They're still rookies. They haven't played a full season. Let them be rookies. I understand that Justin Herbert has been a baller. I understand that. I
Not everybody could
understand
be a Justin Herbert.
I understand Joe Burrow. He's been a baller, but not everyone can be Joe Burrow. Sometimes quarterbacks take longer to develop, and that's okay.
Facts.
Just set them up for success.
Exactly. And I agree with everything you just said. Even when I was watching, I think it was the Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguar, they still kept on running the ball, regardless if it was working or not. And then later on, as the game went on, now the holes were starting to open because people were starting to get tired. The fourth quarter, the ground and pound. Now it's starting to open up a little bit more. But they stuck to the run, regardless, which opened up everything up for them. That's all we've been saying. Give Jalen Hurts the same treatment as these other young head coaches are giving these young quarterbacks. Just say the same thing. Hey, I'm going to help you out. So I'm going to take the ball out your hands. I'm going to run the ball. And then once in a while, hey, I don't care if Jalen Hurts don't throw no more than 20 passes every game. I don't care. He could be 17 for 20, 14 for 20, but we're running the ball. I don't care. I'm okay with it because I promise you, we will win more games with him doing that, and then which will lead us into what? Trying to keep him as our quarterback and then building around him next year because he was successful. And now you could open up the playbook a little bit. Like, you understand?
Absolutely. And it's very similar to Lamar Jackson, who we've already talked about, but even more so, I think Josh Allen is the model you have to follow. Because you remember Josh Allen early in his career, he was not an accurate passer at all. And even still, sometimes he struggles with that. But you know what he is? He has a cannon for an arm. He has elite physical tools. He is a massive man, and he can run the ball. And you let him just make plays by himself, let him rely on the athleticism early in his career, and then you start to refine it a little bit. You get him a Cole Beasley and a John Brown at the time who can get open short and deep. Then you get a Stephon Diggs. You bring that player in, and he can just be open all the time. So it doesn't matter about the inaccuracies. You build around these players, create an offense for them to succeed in. You don't force your player into an offense. It's never going to work.
Yeah, I mean, like a great point. Remember Dak Prescott rookie year? I mean, he had a monster line, the a great running game, a good tight end, a pretty good some wide receivers.
As
But
Bryant, when he was still at his kind of peak.
yep, that's Brian. But the guy was Zeke. They feed Zeke. They fed him, they fed him, they fed him. And he happened to win Rookie of the Year that year, the rushing title, because he was running. So you helped Dak out. And now he's in his sixth year. And you could see like how much he have grown over that time because nobody was like, hey, you're the guy. Let's put everything on you. Throw us to a championship. No, they kept on feeding Zeke the first 2-3 years. And then that gave Dak a lot of time to actually see, okay. And then every year they kept on opening the playbook for him. That's all we asking for Jalen Hurts to do. We're not saying that he's going to be a Dak Prescott or anything like that, but give him a chance. Let us see what he could be capable of before we make a decision. I don't want to start over next year. I don't want to go find a quarterback and then give up 3-4 first round draft pick. The Philadelphia Eagles need talent. They need talent on the defensive side, even on the offensive side. You know, if you want a big body wide receiver, but we cannot afford every year to get rid of quarterbacks and then try to start with a new one. And we have no draft access because we gave it all up just to try to move up. So,
and that's the thing I like with the Eagles going forward is you do have 2 more years of super cheap Jalen Hurts on his rookie deal. You have that 5th year on the franchise tag because he's a second rounder. You don't get the 5th year option. Still, franchise tag for Jalen Hurts. That's 3 years away. You don't have to make that decision right now. You have the Dolphins pick, which looks like it's going to be pretty good next year.
And right now, it's number 2 right now. So right now, it's number 2. So if the Lions win a couple games, we will be cheering for y'all, Lions fans. If y'all win a couple games and the Dolphins don't get Deshaun Watson, which right now is looking kind of iffy that it might not happen. So, and they continue losing, the Philadelphia Eagles could possibly have a first-round pick. But the issue is, do we trust Howie Roseman with those picks? And that's the problem that the Philadelphia Eagle fans are struggling through right now. You know,
he gets too fancy a lot of the time with I don't need to hit it because you already heard it. Metcalf, Jefferson, yada yada. We all know that. However, he does some good things. He builds well through the trenches, the offensive line and the defensive line. So those are the kinds of things that brought them to a Super Bowl in the past. Those are the kinds of things that would help a Jalen Hurts team succeed. So if we're focusing on those areas, yes, I think I do trust him. If we're focusing on the passing game, not tight ends, the receivers, maybe I hire someone from the Steelers, make a move in state, let them. I'm not completely out on Howie. I think he just tries to big brain it sometimes and be a little bit too fancy, and it bites him in the butt. But then you get a guy like Milton Williams, defensive lineman. He's looking pretty good. Derek Barnett's developed well. Those are the kinds of things he does well. So just take some of the ego out of it and let someone else make those decisions on the receivers and maybe the corners as well.
Look, we all would agree with
linebackers.
you. Look, I will hire you to be my GM before I
Oh, thank
hire
you.
Roseman, because like the most simplest common sense is right in front of you, but you feel like that you need to outsmart everybody and say, you
Mhm.
know what? No, I'm going to pick that guy instead of that guy. The worst thing I hate was watching the Minnesota Vikings laughing at us. Like they showed their draft room after we picked Jalen Rager. And they were like, oh my God, make the call. Hurry up, make the call. Justin Jefferson. All he did was like 1,400 yards receiving his rookie year. I mean, all pro, all this stuff. And we got Jalen Rager.
Yeah, those are the things that need to stop. Howie needs to take the ego out of it. And sometimes we talk about it all the time. Sometimes you need to admit you don't know everything. Sometimes the people, the wisdom of crowds knows better. And even The Athletic runs a consensus big board with ranks all the
Mhm.
players from everyone across the internet. And that usually does pretty well, but Howie just goes way off base, not to the extent of the Raiders, where they're taking third round guys in the first, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah. All right. So we about to have fun a little bit. All right. So your seven. All right. Your seven NFC teams you see making the playoffs, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for the AFC, and then we're going to get your little prediction for this upcoming Sunday, and then we'll wrap it up.
Perfect. So let me pull up the standings right here, real quick. And then there's the locks, obviously, that we all
Mhm.
know in the NFC. We've got the Cardinals and the Rams. They're both making it out of the West. We've
Mhm.
got the Cowboys seem like they're going to win the East at this point.
Mhm.
We've
Correct.
got we've got the Packers who are guaranteed to win the North at this point. There's it's painful at this, it truly is. And then we've got the Buccaneers who are going to make it. So those are the five. We're
Okay.
competing for the final two spots, it almost seems
Yeah.
like. I
Yes.
think I think the Saints are going to squeak into that sixth spot that we've got. They
Mhm.
have Taysom Hill coming back. I think they're good enough on defense, and Taysom Hill is athletic enough that Sean Payton can scheme them to some wins in a
Mhm.
weaker NFC. And then for that last spot, the seventh spot, I'm not going with the Carolina Panthers. I'm not going with the
No.
Minnesota Vikings. I'm not going with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles sneaking into that seventh spot.
Wow, that's pretty. I like that list. I like that list a lot. But for some way, somehow, you never count the Seahawks out. And I feel
Yeah.
like if the Seahawks, if Russell Wilson get back healthy enough, that they always this magical dust that's always left for the Seattle Seahawks. They always get hot at the right time and manage to squeeze in there. So I probably will leave the Eagles out and just add the Seattle, because from the jump, I saw three teams coming out the West. Was the Rams, the Cardinals, and my sleeper out there was the Seattle Seahawks. What was coming out, but everything else you said with the Cowboys, even though they're not going, like, I don't think that they will be the number one team, so they're going to have to face either a hard matchup in the first round, because there's only one playoff team that's off, and then the rest, all six, play wild card weekend. So, but definitely my number one team, I believe, is going to have to be the Rams, and they just got better this year. You can't sleep on Von Miller. You know, this move right here remind me of the Marcus Rare move from Dallas when he went to the Broncos his last few
Mm.
years, and then he won a Super Bowl with Von Miller as the cornerstone. Now you got Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Ramsey, and the crew. And the crew ain't bad either. So I believe that the Rams, this is their shot. This is Matthew Stafford. All this, all this crap that he suffered through in Detroit. This is his shot to go deep into the playoffs. Even though he did go to the playoffs with Detroit, he got screwed by that pass interference call against Dallas. That was not called a pass interference, but Dallas got theirs the following week when the Des Bryant catch.
Did
When the
Des catch it?
The Des catch it, hey, nope, he didn't, and they got bounced. So karma, it is what it is. But this is Matthew Stafford, and NFC Championship. I see Rams, Bucks.
I like it. I do think the Rams end up getting that first round bye. I think they probably go undefeated the rest of the way here and get that first round bye. I'm going to say it's the Rams versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has that little bit of magic for the last dance. He's trying
The
to imitate
last
Jordan.
dance.
I don't think it's going to be as successful as Michael Jordan. I think that Matthew Stafford going to take down his old foe Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game and go to the Super Bowl.
All right, hey, let's do the AFC.
All right, so AFC, who do we got here? So division winners, we've got the Titans. They're going to win the South because the Colts,
They
the
blew
Colts,
it.
Carson Wentz.
Blew it.
You must be hoping that the Colts hang around that playoff contention, but don't make it, and so that way you still get that first round pick.
Well, we just want him to play enough games so he won't get benched, But
Yeah.
there's been rumors out there that is the coach and the GM is really going to risk a first round pick, or where they're going to bench Carson Wentz so the Eagles would not get that first round pick. That little dirty mind trick game, but we'll see.
It sounds like Frank Reich might really love Carson like a son, and I have trouble seeing them benching him unless he's injured. So hopefully you do get that first round pick from the Colts and you get that first round pick from the Dolphins, living the dream. But anyways, back to the AFC. So we've got the Titans, we've got the Buffalo Bills. Those are the two locked in division winners. I'm going to say there are three teams from the AFC North, the Ravens and Bengals. The Ravens probably win the division. It's a toss up between those two. And I still think that the Browns are going to rebound. Even after losing to the Steelers, I still think that they can make a late push. It's going to be tough, though. So those are the three from that division. And then Chargers and Kansas City, I think, are the – how many is that now? Tennessee, Buffalo, Bengals, Ravens, Browns.
Ooh, you got three out of that.
Yeah, three out of that conference. Chargers and – actually, no, sorry. I think Kansas City ends up missing and the Patriots end up making it in their stead.
Whoa.
They're 4-4 now. They have a win over the Chargers. I think they might be able to sneak in there as that 7 seed.
Wow. Because, the thing is, I do not see the Browns making it in at all. I have definitely Buffalo, Baltimore, the Bengals, and Pittsburgh. There might be three, but it's not going to be the Browns. So let me see. Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Raiders, and the Kansas City Chiefs. There's something about the Russell Wilson effect, the Andy Reid effect. I never bet anything that Patrick Mahomes and Big Red will find a way to sneak in there some way, somehow. But the Chargers, I think, is going to fall. Their Rays just started their decline. There was 4-0, and then they just lost 3 straight. So who knows? But the Raiders are it's a magical season for them. I don't know how far they're going to go, but it's a magical season for them.
It feels different, that's what doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't know what it is. And even before Gruden was fired, there was something different with Derek Carr and the way they were playing. It does feel like they might be able to. I will say this. The Raiders and the Kansas City play twice still. So that's going to be very telling. If the Raiders can sweep Kansas City and win this division, that would truly be something special.
Yeah. And my AFC Championship matchup, I think Buffalo is definitely gonna be in the championship round, and I'm gonna take the Ravens. I'm gonna take the Ravens because even though I think that the Bills will beat the Ravens, but I just think that Lamar Jackson is good enough to take you to a championship round, but not beyond that. because the more you move up, the further you go in the playoffs, the more teams just start adjusting to you. And you may not even be able to run it, but could you throw it? And you're gonna be facing some better teams as you move on. So I think the Bills, before last time they played on Monday night and they lost to the Tennessee, I really think that the Bills is gonna make the Super Bowl. It's gonna be the Bills versus the Rams.
So I think Lamar Jackson is good enough to get you to a Super Bowl, but I
Yeah.
don't think he's good enough to get this team to the Super Bowl this
This
year.
team, yeah.
Yeah, they have issues on the offensive line, and they have the defense isn't what it once was. They have a bunch of players on injured reserve. So I think he ends up falling short of the AFC Championship game this year. Instead, I think it's the Buffalo Bills versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Buffalo still comes out with the W. The Bills end up heading to the Super Bowl to face the Los Angeles Rams, and Matthew Stafford gets that Super Bowl victory because, like you said, Von Miller is the DeMarcus Ware that they needed, opposite Aaron Donald, opposite Leonard Floyd, well, not opposite Jalen Ramsey, but
Yeah.
you get what I mean.
Oh yeah,
This is
absolutely.
scary in
It
LA.
is. And we're about to see Von play against the Titans, even though Derrick Henry is not going to be there. But we're going to start seeing these teams separate themselves. But why do you feel so confident about the Bengals? They just lost to the Jets, but and then the week before they beat the Ravens. So
That's it.
this season is so crazy. It's so unpredictable. I know that yesterday was Halloween, but literally some of these teams that won was scary yesterday. Like, how did that happen?
The AFC is just weird this year because you get the Bengals who stomped the Ravens, who stomped the Chargers, and then you get teams like the Titans and the Bengals both lost to the Jets. Those are the Jets' only 2 wins. It's the 2 potentially best teams in the AFC, and then the Bills lose to the Titans. So I think it's weird, and the reason I'm going with the Bengals is because I believe in Joe Burrow. I think that man is talented. I'm on record. I think 2023, that is the last season before he wins an MVP. He will win an MVP season or at that season or earlier. And so I think that kind of starts right now. Because even last week against the Jets, he didn't lose them that game. The Bengals lost, but Joe Burrow is a stud still. So I believe in Joe Burrow, just not more than the Buffalo Bills right now.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, look, first of all, this was a blast, man. Hey, this was a blast. I love your knowledge on the sport. I love your energy. Man, it was amazing having you on my show. So, hey, before I let you go, hey, let them know a little bit about you and what you're working on and where they could find you.
Well, thank you so much. It was truly a blast coming on the show and such an honor to join you on JC dot or J dot C dot Eagles Talk. Sorry, just wanted to make sure I plugged you before I plug myself. You can find me everywhere at Javanaugh87. I work for the Believe Podcast Network, running the Believe in Lions podcast with 3-time Lions Pro Bowl nose tackle Jerry Ball. And I also work for ImportantNonsense.com as a fantasy football analyst. And you can check multiple shows that I run over there as well at importantnonsense.com. So those, I think that's all my pluggables to. Oh, one more. It is November, so I am participating in Movember. I know I have the cheating head start because I always have a mustache. However, I am going to be growing it out with some fantasy football contributors across Twitter. So make sure you check out my Twitter account and you can find it there and donate to a good cause for men's mental health.
Oh man, that's good, man. Hey, mental health, very important. Ridley, he just walked
Yeah.
away. So, like, anything more you know about that?
I don't at this point. It says he's just stepping away for his mental well-being, and all I can say is I wish you the best. I hope to see you back on a football field when you're ready, and I hope you're ready soon. But until then, just wish you the best and hope that Calvin Ridley comes back because we all just care about him. We all just want to see him be well.
Yeah, and Lane Johnson, he just came back a couple games ago. So
Brandon Brooks has opened up about it as well. His
Mhm.
struggles with mental health and anxiety. It's such an important topic.
All right, look, thank you very much. I would definitely have you on again, especially to talk fantasy, in the off season and stuff like that. But anytime you want me to go anywhere, come anywhere, just hit me up on Twitter, and I'm there, brother.
Sounds good. We'll be in touch for sure because this was an absolute blast. Thank you again for having me on.
Yes, sir.